sometimes has deadlines that are fuzzy and shift. It's like, I will like, in my games like class, like, like you can turn a project in, like, you can do the first project and turn it at the end of the semester, so you get credit for it. It's never happened in a way that students pass the course, because like, if you're in that situation, like, the things happen. But that semester ends, like the last projects, those deadlines are real in other ways. So, here we are. It'll be fun. It'll all be fine. Yeah.
Was that when we just like downloaded it?
Yeah, no, it's
yeah, that's when we downloaded it.
It's this having like working with Perforce, seeing the last revision thing is kind of hard to see sometimes.
Yeah.
And you can get like I've had this reaction many times, like, wait, all the props are trending late? And it's like, no, it's just when you sync to it. You have to actually go into the history to see the vision thing. Which is really annoying. Like I want Perforce's view to be like, this file was checked at this time. Like, why is my local computer's, like, when I sync to it, why do I give a shit about that?
Why does that take priority? It's very odd for sure.
What are your thoughts on the file? Why?
I think I don't have as many apple pies in my history to compare this to, so it's alright. It's pretty good.
Oh, sweet. Is it from the food truck?
Yeah.
Coffee's really good. I don't know. I had a couple bites of fried apple pie and I was not impressed. There's too much of the fried taste. The apple tastes fine.
Yeah, I agree. The inside is really good. The outside's kind of.
I feel like if more coffee trucks knew about the coffee we had at ETC, there'd be a coffee truck here every day.
Yeah.
It's like we have a very, it's almost like someone, the way the coffee gets produced here is like designed to drive students to coffee shops. It's barely adequate. It's there.
That's why I brought my Keurig to my project for this semester.
Smart. Should stop by.
Fly and you just saw me take home last night.
Extra power strips in here.
8 trash cans. Should be one outside the door.
What's in there?
Yeah, it's when it's like snake
No,
all
the
the way
one's
down.
innocent. Yeah, there is one that wasn't working yesterday. I can grab you one from the hardware room.
What?
I can grab one from the hardware room.
I can go to my office. I got one office.
Thanks, Dave.
Is it charger?
Power strip.
Oh, power strip. I don't know why I heard trash can. Apparently I haven't had this coffee yet.
I'm gonna go grab the streaming stuff and just toss it on my bag. For your
Okay.
access. If the fighting Steam team gets here,
today is like a return
To normal?
to normal.
Yeah.
Like shaking off round 4.
Or no, round 4.
Yeah. So the way this works, so we just need to help coordinate this. Half this is getting logos and names from projects.
They're like pre-made, so very
And then this is sort of like the survey for juries. Theory of that stuff that we gather for that form goes into the science.
right. Have you ever had these before?
Stuff like
No, yeah, I could be before, but.
No, but this kind.
Yeah.
They're so
I
good.
like the middle part, is like where.
Yeah,
We should
yeah,
have
yeah. It's so good.
It's a
They have them
little
for every
bit,
holiday, so they have like Halloween version and
What do you got?
we do need
from
to
the
have
grocery store.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just like frozen like cookies, and then you like
Oh, frozen cookie. So you have to like put it in over.
This is where also the program comes in. Do I have something else? Do we have multiple screens here?
Yeah. Yeah, you probably want to go here.
Wait, you got. This is we're on HDMI. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a.
BMW feedback 5. So Bitly feedback 5.
This is changing my life. Okay, so have you ever had So to celebrate the end of our week, did you even have Oh, I knew it! I knew it! I knew it was gonna happen. Angie, what? Because they're like frozen cookies, and then they have the different ones for every holiday. So they have the Halloween. I couldn't. I was Thanksgiving. What? Okay, hold on. Would you like some cookies? Cookie. Pillsbury. What kind of cookies? Chocolate chip. Okay, awesome. Do you have chocolate chip? No, I have cranberry. I have cranberry. So I make sure it's that. Would you like a cookie?
Whether it's raccoon toys.
Would you like the
Oh, that's this?
Yeah.
Just the.
Okay. Zach, you going upstairs?
So the problem is Dick Knoble. This isn't coming through the screen. So,
It's like a Knoebels. I met
the error with the capture.
next to Imaginary President. The one.
We've got one in the back of the
Baxter?
just want to make sure it's not something.
Complex. I went to Universal and Town Adventure as part of a competition I was doing, and then everybody from the agency was like, isn't Epcot like kind of sad right now? No, Epcot's actually great. Okay. But I went
Is anyone from the drunk fighting game here? It doesn't seem like anyone's listening to me. Is anyone from the drunk fighting game here? The drunk fighting game? No, and it doesn't look like anyone's here. Okay.
Well, have them set up early, but it is.
yes, but you can also just get there. And it's like virtual queuing. So you can also do Would you like a cookie? Oh, you're okay.
Yes, Mark, is present. Awesome.
Team 60 is here yet? We're looking for the drunk fighting game. No one's here from that.
All right.
We're ready now.
Well, here we are. The last final presentation of BBW today. So let's, with that, and sometimes I think today might also be the last day we really take attendance. So let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Team 60. Ah.
That's an entrance.
Wait. Is there only 4 of you? Who? Soul? Okay. Okay. Team 57. Team 57. I only see 3. Who's missing? Okay. Team 63. Team 63. Okay. Is that 4? Okay. Do you have one more, or is it just 4? It's just 4? Okay. Who's missing? Did you get that? Wait, sorry, can you say that again? Okay. Team 59. Okay. 4. Okay. Team 65. Okay. Fine. Team 68. I see 3. Okay. Okay. You got it. Team 70. I see 3. Okay. Oh, Matthew's like here. Team 57. Team 57. Did I already call 57? I'm sorry. I already did. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, that's actually it. I think.
All right. Today, my sense is we got a lot of crazy stuff getting set up and plugged in. Just a quick sense. We're going to play the worlds. Some worlds, we're going to watch video. And after the session, we're going to go up to the space. But part of what we're presenting in class is both the work of the world, but also your theming plan. So we'll talk a little bit about that briefly. But overall, the idea is to get a sense of how would this play at festival. This afternoon, we'll talk a little bit more about jury and all that stuff that's coming, mainly around the practical stuff of like submitting, being ready for it. The TAs are working on some crazy plans so we can present. We're talking like 40 plus worlds next Tuesday. So it'll be lots of exciting things. But this morning, I'm going to go through the worlds, talk about them, see them. We're going to be on kind of a schedule. We got a lot of things to get through, moving around a lot. So we'll try to like watch the clock a little bit. And we're also going to be running a streaming experiment. I think after this session. Yeah, the walkthrough portion. So one of the things we're doing is we're trying to work on the live stream plans for the festival. And some of that involves how the hell do we live stream a live world? And so we'll be experimenting with stuff up in the platform room with a little bit of that. As that said, this afternoon we're going to be talking a little bit about festival. And one of the things we're looking for will be volunteers to help with different parts of the festival. One of those will be the live stream. So if you are at all interested in the technology or even like being a host for the live stream, we are looking for students who are interested in that kind of thing as we get closer to festival. So just a little piece of it. That said, should we get going? All right. We're setting up. So we're starting with Team 60. That's right. Do you want to bring up your theming plan? Well, yeah, we're gonna. I guess the question is, are we ready to get going, or do you want like a few minutes to like talk about the theming plan while you also getting technology going?
So I'm a theme plan. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Can you put the theme plan on one screen? On the last screen?
Can we just talk over the house PC? All right. Get the tech working. We'll get the stuff going. Oh, sorry. All right. Should we talk to this?
So, we're Team Drone Punchers India Edition. So, the concept art was obviously based from an Indian street. We were thinking of replicating the mood of being in like a dirty, rather not refined street, and having like a raw, chaotic fighting scene there. That was all that it started from. Next slide. If there's and these were some of the artworks that we did generated from that mood board. And then next, the theme plan is that we're thinking of having like an LED neon light saying "Drink and Fight," and then before coming in, you'll see that bar looking sign. And once you enter, we're thinking of preparing some entree drinks, like Indian alcoholics drinks, and then they give a feeling that they are actually drinking the alcohol, but they're not. And then they are going to be fighting, obviously with the two monitors presented before their eyes. We'll have like a little charging station that's disguised as an Indian decorative artifact. And we'll have purposely set up trash cans and trash lying around on the floor. And the mood, the lights, we're going to put LED strips, and that's pretty much about it. That's like an experience flow chart that we drew to help understand it. But I think pretty much straightforward. People will be fighting with the feeling of like chaotic, no specific purpose to it. But at the end of the day, hopefully they feel fun and definitely chaotic and also collaborative. That's our main and ultimate goal.
No, it looks good. The concept art is ambitious in terms of the feel, but I like how you are going. It feels like mostly like lighting and some decoration on the wall to like capture the spirit. And if you can get people to kind of get into this mindset of it's a little bit of like, out late at night, sort of a bar fight kind of play thing, it could do some fun things for just like the way people react to this. So looks good. Are you ready to try it out? Let's do it.
We need a total of 4, so Shannon, Laurie.
Alright, should I be feet or hands? I don't want to do hands. Okay, so you can stand in the back. I stand far in the back, but I don't have to do with the head. You can see. Now calibration. And do you want to pull up the feedback form?
Yes.
The link. So we do have the feedback forms back. So in the audience, you want to like respond to what the team had. Predictors blanks. There we go. All right. So the one thing like immediately like just satisfying about this is it's 4 guests. And the roles on each side are asymmetric, so one person rudder, one person on the grips. Now, we didn't talk too much, but no, I think there was definitely like, I mean, you were doing stuff. I don't know how much you felt your role was meaningful versus my role was meaningful, but it felt they were both necessary.
No, I felt like I had definitely some control, and then like, I know at the very first time, it was kind of like it's like disorienting the road, kind of like going in all sort of directions and whatnot. Once I got a hand, I was kind of approaching and whatnot. And I was thinking, I didn't know it was velocity, so I was like, oh, maybe if I do a little bobbing and heaving, then maybe one of your arms will finally land.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the design of this, the way you split up the controls, is really clever, and attaching it to a theming of two drunk characters fighting, is a really good idea because absolutely like watching this playing this. It's kind of chaotic. Like if I play it again, I don't think I would change my strategy, and I can't really describe my strategy besides like wave my arms generally in another direction, which for the theme ends up working really well. Like it's fast, it's chaotic, and it's just sort of like about getting that feeling. And like looking at the world, like I mean, I was talking to you guys on Thursday, and the timeline of this world was a little scary, but it came together And especially like the trails on the hands, and the way the world sort of feels and responds. Like there's definitely some weirdness to the inverse kinematics, and like my character's fist sort of like curls in on itself. But you get absolutely, like you get really great responsiveness on moving the arms, and I can watch that screen. I feel like that's me doing that. It seems like the rudders are appropriately responsive as well, and together, like we're creating this character that's like fighting in a crazy way. And like I said, those trails really sell a lot of like almost like part of the. I can almost sort of see like the idea of like fuzzy vision and like trails being left in the light. The colors in the world looks great, and so like, you do a really good job of like bringing it to life. And you know, honestly, like it's relatively short, but it's I think just the right length of I want to rematch. I want to try it again. I guess I'm curious. As a team, have you been playing this? Can you like what's the good strategy? Can you be good at this?
We have not played enough times to strategize the best way, but.
So you can do one of the two things. You can either just go crazy and just keep doing this, or instead of punching, you can like swing your arms.
Okay, and like you're saying like it is speed based, velocity based. So I will take off, and I guess is that like you have to swing fast enough to hit, or is it the harder you swing, the more damage you take off the other character?
It is velocity based, so the faster you swing, the harder it will hit.
Okay, so
And
more damage, hard swing. Like,
Yeah.
which is one like an exciting idea. It makes me a little terrified for like festival guests to discover that,
Right.
and because there's a little bit of a just how you stage things and how people stand
Yes.
around here, and telling someone that the harder you swing, the harder you'll hit in the world. Like, I would make sure you have good clearance
Yes.
around. But that's, in a sense, it's a fun problem to have for festival. Definitely, like one of the, if I were to iterate this, the feedback in this world made it hard to know what to do. The camera view is, I think, okay for a shared thing, but man, like, how do I map my arms and my hands and like punch? I really wanted like VR perspective for that. But absent that, it's like knowing you want a shared screen, I wanted a clearer, I think I lacked a clear target. And so I never saw or felt the moment of hitting the other character. Okay. Like I was basically swinging my fist and hoping I hit, and every now and then I'd notice feedback that said I'd successfully hit, but I never really had a moment of swing, connect, oh, that worked. Okay. And I think part of it is this world, like it feels like the characters are, I would say like almost 80% arms.
Yes.
And so with the effects and the arm swinging, the idea of a target gets lost in there. Like the character I'm aiming at is sort of like just the middle part of the arms. And so I would wonder if you could iterate a way to sort of make the other character more of a target. Okay. And kind of like use feedback to say, yes, that thing you did, that worked. That said, the chaos of this is pretty good. Like coming away from this being like, I just kept swinging and swinging and swinging and something worked, isn't a bad thing to get to. And so then it would be a little bit of like, can you within that find a bit more of escalation?
Right.
Because right now it's just sort of swing, 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 someone lost. And it might just be like a rematch cycle, like it's the best of three. So build on the idea that the guest would probably want to fight again, and something like that. And I might look into like ways to distinguish things. Like both characters have trails on their hands. They're the same color. So in the moment seeing them together, it's a little hard to pull apart our hands. And it's a little hard to sort of like tell the other character. Like they're definitely two colors in there. But yes. I might, if I were like to iterate this, I might really try to emphasize the difference. And to tell how well I'm doing on my side, I have to look at the other team's screen to see their health bar. And so there's a little bit of just like an information question of, as I'm doing this, how as a guest, how do I know if I'm doing poorly or doing well? And I'm getting feedback on my health. Every now and then I sort of get a sense that I hit the other person, but it is a surprise, especially for my screen, if the fact that I won. And that's kind of like Like, it all sort of ties into the idea of like, can you build up this idea of the guests are doing this, it escalates, that means they have a sense of progress and those things. But overall, like the core vibe of this, like the two characters, a drunken fight, it's a little magical, it's a little chaotic, it's cooperative, it's competitive, all this stuff is working. So it really is just like taking that platform and finding that last tweak of this is now an event in some sense.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, good work getting it to work. It was a little bit of a risk. You're trying two types of hardware. Honestly, like bringing the Vive Index in with the rudder and like all these perspectives, like I was skeptical, but it's a lot of it's definitely working. So overall, good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, who's next?
57.
All right, 57.
Do you want to start with the game plan or video?
We can start with the game plan. It's good context for.
You're going to talk about theming plan first.
Okay, so hi everybody, we're Team 57. I'm Laura, this is Dimitri, this is Snow, Pearson, and Jiazhen. And our game is called Tale of Dragons, so basically it's a dragon riding experience in VR, combining with the Chair. Next page, please. So for our theming plan, we're thinking about having basically some decorations of like the hexagons, stone as the decoration because like it's something an element from the VR experience, and we'll have a photo booth of a dragon model made out of cardboard.
Just really quickly, the idea is like to build like a large-scale dragon model out of cardboard.
If things doesn't work out, we'll probably just make it out of like a cutout.
I love the ambition. Like if your world, if you could deliver on a 3D cardboard model of a dragon. Whew. there might be you might have to like raffle it off at the end of the festival.
I will speak for Mix.
I like full disclosure, my daughter loves dragons, and anything related to dragons is on my radar. So yeah,
I will speak
Big
from
dragon.
experience. Making the dragon takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I guess we can buy some existing toy dragon cardboard.
If you can't.
Or I remember Lori was like making a dragon for her project, so
Yeah,
probably we
there's,
can.
There's some TAs who could like give you some advice on is this
I
in
know.
scope. So anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so the plan is just to dream big first.
Yeah, dream big.
So
I love it.
Yeah, and we'll have like a waiting area. Yeah, I'll talk about the layout from the next page. So basically, the entrance will be like over there. The guest will go through a sign-up table to put themselves on slots, and they can go through a line. And while waiting in the line, they can watch. And there will be also like a watching area for people who don't really want to play.
Yep.
And they will have the photo booth in the corner.
All right.
And the estimated guests per hour, it's kind of like a safe guess. Probably like 10 people. The runtime of our game for now, I think, is about like 3 minutes. So like another 3 more minutes for like preparations and getting on and off the lecture and things
I like
that.
the fact that you have listed there basically a way to get guests up to the chair, like
Yeah,
which is
yeah, because like one of our playtesters says it's probably a little bit of a safety consideration to like have people safely get on and
oh yeah.
off.
Every
and
time I climbed
everything.
up into that chair, I mean, like I need a little step stool would be really nice. So
Yeah.
good thinking. All right, let's. I think we're gonna show video now. We're gonna go play it a little bit later, right? So let's watch it. You can leave that. I think we can leave that monitor up on the table. You want to bring the lights up a little bit? Man, so it looks great. I mean, I know watching this at Interim and last week, this world is very ambitious, and I really like how like you sort of tightened it up. Like the beginning, it looks like we have a bit of almost like a cutscene where I think it looks like it's live or in VR, but we have another dragon. We're sort of getting a sense of like there's. If I'm reading this right, like we're just like minding our own business, and then all of a sudden, like this giant fleet of flying ships decides to throw fireballs at us, which seems like a really bad idea on their part. And then we take off, like you throw us into the action pretty quickly. I'm really curious how that feels because I know you're doing the motion chair, and so the match of the visuals and the chair is the promise of that seems really exciting. And man, like the dragon and the world just looks really great. I loved it last week, but the animation on the dragon seems like it's in a really nice spot where it's responsive. Like one of the hard things to do flying right is to make it feel like I'm controlling something in a way that I can understand and then use those controls to do it well. And you're doing something that's a little bit challenging, which is not just like flying kind of in a straight line, but it's like flying and looping back around. And so the scene of like all of these ships, it's a little weird that they're flying. But one of the things that seems like that does is it keeps the flight of the dragon kind of like in a more three-dimensional space. And so you now have these like targets which are less always looking down and more like going through them. And it does a lot of stuff. Like there's fire everywhere. And so like just celebrating the pieces of this which are like really exciting looking fire flying through these boats. And then they form up into a super ship and like it just sort of like escalates. So a lot of like nice moments. It'd definitely be a thing to like feel it out and try it. But like I said, this looks really, really great. I mean, I think you guys have know the world in the sense that like it looks like it's nice and cohesive. It's a little gratuitous at the end when it's like let's spend like a good amount of time flying into the clouds and like looking at the credits. But I mean, at the end of the day, like it feels like a world where if I were watching it, if I came in the room and I saw someone in a chair and I could see that like it's motion based and I was watching the world and seeing like the fire, the visuals, the dragon, all that stuff, like just the simple promise of that kind of excitement would make me want to try it. And so like great job of like tying these elements together, making them feel like a cohesive world and really celebrating like the excitement of a dragon and sort of being at the height of like dragon fighting. Like this is not a fun little like, oh, we're just gonna fly around. This is like, dragons at its dragonest with fireballs and fire and boats and water and cliffs. So I want to try it. So yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
Next is team 63.
63.
No, they're a phone game.
Oh, that's a phone game. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about your theming plan first, and then we'll play yours.
Hello, we are Team 63, and our team, our world name is Animal Revolution. So, first of all, the guest enters the main room, and they are gonna become animal fighters, and they're gonna join the revolution. The ETC farm is under the evil farm owner, so the animals want to have animal revolution and be free again. So the guest scans QR code and create a character, and there is a boss fight station, and they are gonna discover they have to do some to-do list and come back. So they can also enjoy like individual training session and fighting with each other. And also they have to collect fruits, special fruits to prepare for the boss fight. And they have to go around the ETC building and collect the fruits. And finally, at a certain time, the people will come to main room and they're gonna do the boss fight, which is the raid, fighting together. And that will be the ending. And the players can still enjoy the fighting with each other.
So we have like some basic floor plans for the guest flow. It's just the process that she just explained, but they kind of go to a table that we're going to be sitting at and get a little bit of instruction, and also there's like free stickers or handouts or whatever. And then they can go create their character. There's a QR code for that on the table. And then probably one of the places where we're going to give the first fruit so that they learn how to do that. And then some photo booth stuff. We'll show examples of that later. So there's our theming plan. We want to put like fruit trees around the building. I know we like probably can't put stuff in hallways, but
There's definitely some restrictions on how we can add things to the halls. At the same time, like if there's a good reason, we might be able to fight for certain things. Signs are more likely than big standing things.
okay, because we didn't want to like block the hallways, but our game is also about people like probably waiting in line for other worlds and like having a little bit of free time to play our game. So those are our proposed photo standees. And then, nope, that's it. And the fruit with their corresponding QR codes, so each has a different one. And just some posters that we're going to like put up around the building because if people see a tree, they like won't know what it's for. So then we'll like explain that, like go to this room and play our game. And some instructions. And more QR codes for character creation, which is just like go into the game, and then also the boss fight is an excellent.
One quick question for the room. You have a, go back to the room layout. All right, there, 4 and 5, oh, those are the photo booth standees. We were watching, is there a way to see people playing? I guess, do you have any strategy for, I'm playing on my phone in this room. People who are in the room can see me playing without like staring at my phone. Is that a thing at all? Because we're about to run into this problem, which is it's all on the phone. Is there a way for an audience to see on a screen?
This, for like PvP, if it's 2-player fighting, it's only like, they can only see it on the phone, their phone. But if like we're doing a boss fight, that's going to be like on a screen.
Okay, so you have number 5, projector screen with leaderboard. We'll switch to boss fight at a certain time. Okay. And talk me through the boss fight. Is it cooperative?
Yeah.
So how many people can cooperate to fight the boss?
That's a thing that I'm trying to figure out right now because there's still like limitations for like multiplayer stuff.
Yeah.
There can't be like too many players in a room.
How many can do it right now?
I think like technically it can go up to like 100, but I saw like their documents saying that most of their games are like up to like 16 or 24.
Okay, I was wondering, is it more than one? It sounds like it's more than one.
Yeah.
But it's potentially a small group. Their bigger limitation might just be the room.
Oh.
Then okay, and it's I guess so. Given that, how do we see this right now? Like, what's the right way for us to see the world?
It can be played on like web browsers.
Should I scan something, or are we going to go web browser?
One can use the phone, and the other one can use the computer to see.
All right, well, let's get it going. Let's.
Tell them to clean the cookie. That's only when if you already opened the website.
scan anything?
more skins.
Audio. So one, like just the idea of doing an experience which is sort of build on the phone, and like you go in, you come out, you go to the building, you come back for a boss fight. Like the basic pitch is really exciting because it's something that's different. It feels like there's a big if on technology, but if you can get this, if guests can engage with this with their phone and like get into it pretty easily, I think it has a lot of potential for being just a different experience. The idea of like looking around, and you see a QR code, like you found like there's a little bit of a scavenger hunt aspect to this, which was really exciting. The boss fight kind of feels like the big thing here, and I guess it's a shame that you don't have it yet. And to that end, the overall experience that you described feels nice and compelling, which is you come in, you're welcome into the revolution, and you're sort of explained like what you need to do, and then you get sent back out. And I love the idea of coming back when you're ready for this moment. And that loop is what feels like you're going to be sort of like pitching to jury. And I guess the question is, for jury, can you bring that whole process to life? Because right now, it's a pitch. And so for jury, like it needs to not be a pitch. And I guess that's one of the things I'm a little confused about. Just a little bit is like the fighting between the two characters doesn't fit your pitch right now. Because if it's about joining a revolution and getting strong enough for the boss fight, it's, I guess, in that whole process, how do you explain the fighting between the two characters? Like, where is that in the story and the flow for the guests?
You're fighting with each other animals to be stronger. It's like training session.
Okay. And I guess the thing that I'm looking for is like, there's some clarity that you kind of need to get for the guests. Because I, as a guest, don't, like the revolution poster and Join the Revolution, like brings a really nice call to action and a purpose here. And so like, okay, yeah, let's do it. But you have a lot of like world stuff that I need to understand, which is there's a boss. The boss you need to prepare for. Preparing for it means gathering fruit and also training. And training means fighting other characters. Fighting other characters means doing this. And so those in-between pieces are like some of the most important parts of this, is like how do you get the guest to understand what they need to do? And like you have the functional pieces, and you have a little bit of the connection pieces of like how to get the guests to know it. But this is a big part of delivering the experience will be, okay, like understanding as a guest what fighting means, why I need to do it, when I need to do it, and how I do it. And right now, like the fighting feels like we can do it, but it feels disconnected. Like nothing about, like there's a win-lose, right? It's one person won, one person lost, which doesn't feel like training. It feels like fighting and losing, as opposed to fighting and leveling up and like earning like stuff. And so that would be a thing I'd be looking for, is a sense of progress. Like if I need to be strong enough to go fight the boss, one of the most important things I need to understand is what strong enough means, and that right now I'm not strong enough, and then I do these things and I get strong enough. And so the collection screen for the fruit helps me, it looks like a little bit like I can see that I need to like fill these slots. If you're gonna do something where I have to level up in fighting, I would need that too. I need sort of like that feedback of, this is your goal. You need to be able to get to this level. And to know that, I need to know what my level is right now. And I think that piece, like if I'm gonna push for jury, that complete story told through the interface, basically all the pieces the guests will see should be helping them understand that story. The revolution posters look especially great. Like just the whole idea of like seeing that, and I can imagine looking at it being like, what is that? Like I want to go to that room and find out. And like that's probably one of the best things to focus on in this whole world is that idea of like there's like a secret revolution happening, and like you get hints of it in the building, and it's almost like this whole secret world that if you know about it, you start to see it, and like you are out in the building doing this secret thing that nobody else really knows about, which is a really great little experience to create. Like there's we see these a little bit. Disney has done some of it where like you have an experience layered sort of underneath the whole building experience, and I think that getting that to come to life would be really, really nice. So really for jury, it's how do you come in next Tuesday and say, here's the experience, and here's how to like feel it. And the big thing would be that whole flow of you get welcomed in, you do that thing. I would want you to like demo the pieces and how they're connected. And through those pieces, I can see the whole flow. So you have a little bit of work cut out for jury, because jury's going to expect some of this stuff. If you don't have, if it's not like, if like the posters aren't totally finished and stuff like that, like that's sort of part of the theming stuff. But I would definitely want an idea of like the onboarding, connecting to the idea of welcome to a revolution, connected to an idea of you're not ready yet, connected to these activities help you level up, connected to you're now ready, here's the finale, here's the boss fight. So I think there's some work to be done to like get jury to see how it fits together. But fundamentally, like the idea and like the pieces is really ambitious and really great. So I think you have a core thing that's when you get all of it, could be really cool. You don't have all the pieces just yet. Sort of my main reaction. Cool. All right. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Hello, so we are Team 59, and our game is called Christmas Chaos, and it's for the Jamo Drum.
Yes, we designed it for the BVW platform room. We were sort of assuming that we cannot move the Jamo Drum, but essentially we have a guest throughput of about 48 guests per hour. It's a 4-player game, so guests can come in through the entry here on the right. And there's a waiting area and a TV that is blocking the console from which we will be controlling the game to restart. And I think that's about it for the layout.
There's a secret room in the building that has another Jamo Drum that is used for when visitors come to the building to demo certain things, and it's kept under lock and key, so that all the hardware stays very functional. And when festival rolls around, Jamo Drum worlds get to use that room instead of like the broken Jamo Drum upstairs in the platform room.
That's the only one that we'll be using.
So we'll be.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Our goal will be to get a Jamo Drum that works well for festival.
Okay.
But there's a good chance that you'll actually use the demo room, not the platform room, if you're invested.
Got it.
So this is our concept art, and we were kind of thinking of having a Christmas theme, because Christmas is just around the corner. And we would have a real like plastic tree with fake presents underneath and a lot of fake snow on the ground around like the guest area, as well as cardboard cutouts of the characters. For example, the Santa cardboard cutout, and he's going to be looking at the elf. That is going to be a printout that we will tape to the wall, and we want to make it so that it kind of looks like he's crashing into the real tree. And also doing things with lighting, like having real lights for the boosters on the sleigh, having real lights in the tree, and having decorations like cardboard cutouts of snowflakes and that kind of thing. So it's going to be very Christmassy.
Looks good. I think we may actually have a fake Christmas tree. So
perfect.
When a team sort of like takes on the Christmas theme, there are as a secret cache of decorations that the ETC has that Janice will take out and be like, hey, here's all the stuff. Have fun. All right. No, I love I love the embracing of the theme. Like you've definitely got Christmas and chaos. Santa looks very distressed. So let's take a look at the world.
Yeah.
Good elves, I am here to announce my search for the next Santa. My reindeer and I are retiring, and I need one of you to take our place. Those who wish to become the next Santa must prove their worth by delivering as many presents as possible this Christmas. We've installed new rocket booster navigation systems on the sleighs, so you'll have to cooperate and drive carefully with your co-pilot. In the end, the elf that delivers the most presents shall be crowned as the next Santa. Now, go and prove your worth. You just destroyed the only one I said not great. Congratulations, not you just destroyed the only water reserve in town. Not great. Congratulations, you just destroyed the only I said not break. Congratulations, you are the next Santa. You still need more practice, though.
Right. No, the whole idea of chaos really comes through. And having played this a little bit, and we'll sort of get to play it again, like the split between the two guests, like one goes left, right, one goes up, down, does a good job of like giving you that sense of I can sort of control things, but I'm gonna bump into things like just a lot of like crashing. I think that works really well. Like you've got an energy there that fits like the festival well, which is naive guess. Like this is a world that sort of celebrates not being very good at it. Getting a little bit better as you play, but truthfully, like the controls are a little loose, they're a little hard, and like the world knows that and the world wants that to happen. So this is not you come in and you're like, you show off how amazing you are at it. It's more like you laugh and have fun, that it's a challenge. I love the fact that you went for multiple levels, because watching it definitely gets repetitive at times. And so that first level, like, you know, it's like, well, like it's not too much is going on, and then we get to the next level and the next. I would say, like, if I were to like iterate this, I might tighten it up. Like it felt like the levels are just a little bit too long. We sort of like, because we have 3 levels, we don't need to linger like in the levels as long as we do. Like the second level especially felt a little long. And I think that's where I'd like focus a lot of stuff, is like getting it a little bit tighter. Like there's a little bit of repetition in Santa, and Santa's kind of hard to hear. So watch your sound mixing. Like the elves, it's very repetitive, but in some sense, like that repetition makes sense. The elves are clearly expressing the idea that they're a little unhinged, like they're a little crazy. They're not like a careful, thoughtful Santa. They're like, we're in a rocket sled and we don't know what we're doing and we're just like crashing into things and we kind of love it. And so like that's the vibe that really holds the strongest. And there's Santa in the background, kind of being like, chiding and being like, look at what you've done, like stop doing that. But it's hard to hear him because you're just overlapping audio. And so I'd be a little bit, I might look at that and like find a way to separate it. And one thing that like the ending, if I look at other places, like where you transition between levels, and then especially the ending, like it feels a little bit like there needs a polish there, especially the ending of the whole thing. The music cuts out, and then we have like 15 seconds before it ends, and then it kind of ends abruptly. And so if I found some way to sort of like have Santa give me a countdown, right? 10 seconds left, hurry up. Like, and just I think that's a place to use Santa, is to like have him transition us, have him like mark the changes in this, and then let the chaos sort of like fill in. But yeah, like I think the feel of this is a great use of the Jamma Drum, like doing the multiplayer. It definitely has like this subversive fun, like we're just like trying stuff and crashing. And so like celebrating that. And so like just like I said for jury, I think just tighten it up. It could be a little bit shorter. You can like let the ending be a little stronger, and then like really have the experience work well. So I'm excited to like go up there and try it and see how it feels. And definitely the pad dying, like it's a known thing. So we know that's not you. Our goal is the Jamma Drum hardware works for festival. So that's another thing that we're working on. Anyway, good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Team 65.
Christine, do you know?
You want to talk through the meeting plan while we get the tech set up?
So we're Team 65. Our project name is called Mushroomies Island. And we have this character called Mushroomy. Next place, please. So this is our layout. We're gonna use 2407. And we have this waiting and watching area over there. So, first of all, there will be like 2 parts of guests divided after the waiting line. So guest 1 would be go to the guest 1 area and play and pose. And the guest 2 will be sitting there and selecting the items. And we will have like result printing area as well. So like after the experience, they will have printed pictures of their island.
All right, so your goal is to have a color printer in the room.
Yes.
We can talk. We'll see.
Okay.
There might be, it's a big maybe, but I love the idea.
All right. So next slide, please.
Yeah, this is pretty much our concept art. As you can see, we have the Mushroomy and the island, small version, and 2 monitors and a printing area.
All right, so in some sense, like the idea of bringing the space to life is really intriguing. Definitely like a little bit of like fitting the space with Connect. I could definitely see, especially using that to your advantage. One thing teams with Connect discover is giving the guest a clear idea of where the Connect space is really helpful, because you don't want people behind them. So you need to I think using that to separate the space is really good. In practice, you'd probably, you want to make sure you have enough floor space, but I love the idea of decorating. I mean, your world has a really cute aesthetic, and the idea of clarifying to guests that they're creating something, so there's a takeaway of what you made, is especially nice. There's some practical stuff there that we have to work out, but I love the idea of like part of the offer to guests is you come in and you walk away with what you made, and that helps really complete the idea for guests in a good way. So yeah, let's try it out. I guess make some stuff for Mushroom Yum.
Ferris, you want to play?
Right. So first off, like the idea of content creation is really hard because it's one thing to like create features. It's another thing to create an experience that like gets the guests to like know what they're doing and motivate them through. And I love your choice of creating a character and sort of giving it context and giving the scene, like, where you notice it, like we're like, let's do flowers. And first, like, oh, there's this area here that says flowers. And like immediately I'm like, oh yeah, let's fill in the flower bed. So I think you're finding a really nice balance of giving me a story and giving me some things to think about, but also giving me some freedom. And so like all of that stuff is working really nicely. And I love the interaction, like the connect as a way to pose the surprise between the different objects is a really nice little interest curve. Like we do this and we do that, and we sort of learn about mushrooms, and then we do this and we learn about trees and flowers. And so those different pieces is really, really appealing. And you've done some really nice, clever things like making this different, making it very responsive. Like well, the best thing about Connect is when you have like the direct feedback of I'm moving and it's doing on screen. So I really feel like what I do matters in the world and it connects to things. The whole flow worked really well. Like the little character moments, the little tutorial was really cute. It's definitely a piece of this that I left with some questions in my head of exactly how do trees work? Was I doing the right thing with the skybox? And so there's a little bit of a decoding of the interface to what I do. And some of that discovery is nice. Like one of the ways you solve this is during festival, when guests are doing it, you tell them, like, do this. Like, and that's a nice, just, like, you don't really need to have it in the world. You can have it as part of the room and as part of the coaching. And you're just, like, watching for some confusion and, like, helping them through that. And so I think that's really easily solvable. The other little thing that would be nice is you do have a lot of, like, empty space in the front. And I would wonder if there's a better way to get sort of, like, layers of stuff. And so like the mushrooms and the flowers sort of want to be small, the trees want to be big. And so there just might be a little bit of like just the flow of this. Like, do we do the trees first, so they're in the background, and then do we sort of go from big to little, and do you sort of like create layers that way? There's a little bit to think about, like connecting those together. But overall, like the visuals of this are nice and cohesive. I felt like I was making stuff that fit in the world. There's good variety. There's like you have like basically about 4 things for each category, it feels like. And that's good. Like, there's room to add more. Like, so I could understand from a jury perspective, like if you spent a little bit more time on this, what would you do? And you'd probably like add some more things, like more surprises, so it scales well. I like the separation. So like having one person at the desk, one person doing it. It's a little like you're probably looking at a mix where the person in the Connect is doing the more active gamey thing, and the person at the desk is like the clearest thing for me is that's what the parent does, and your child does the fun thing out here. And so there's a little just like seeing and understanding the mix. But even that mix could be like one of you at the desk while someone does Connect. So there's ways to balance that. The takeaway at the end, like I would, if you're gonna do like a printed thing, you probably don't want the camera to spin. You probably want to like have a final like snap of what the snapshot is. But you could do stuff where my guess is the printer would be difficult. But you could do cute things where it does take a picture, and maybe you are managing, like it copies and pastes it out, or you just take a screenshot and you put it into, like even like Google Photos would work, like just a little gallery of what people have made, and it's on a monitor. You could send me the picture to my phone. There's little things you could do, I think, as part of the flow of the experience that is digital, but still really captures the idea of like people made this stuff. And especially if you can capture the idea that other people made things and they were different, and this is what you made, I think that would be a really great thing. As the evening goes on, you see more and more what people made. And so finding ways to celebrate the creativity and like guest involvement is what I would look for. And that would probably be the last little piece then, is if you did that, how much can you see variety in what people make? And that's, if I were like thinking about adding more models to the gallery, so to speak, I would look for variety. Like, can you bring stuff where one guest over here made a world that looks like this, and then guest over here made a world that looks very different. And like, is there stuff that like encourages that? But overall, a really nice little experience. It's really cute. It's fun. It feels like the theming of the room would fit in nicely. And it's different. Like, it's something that is like, it's gentle. You can come in here, and instead of doing something that's all about like having fun and screaming and shouting, it's come in and like have a creative little break and do this cute little thing. So, great work.
Hello, and we're Team 68, and we're doing the big year. Here, do we have a clicker? I can always just, someone can tap it. Okay, cool. Thank you. So we're in the cave. So we can't really theme too crazy much, but we have a couple ideas. So first of all, we have a basket in our cave area, which also has poles that go up and has little handles on the front, so the guest pulls the string to control the hot air balloon. There's also little clouds around the cave floor to give it the appearance that you're in the sky. Here's the balloon, or the basket design. We're also planning on having a little piece of cloth up at the top with a light, so it can be like the fire of the hot air balloon. So our Vive controller is in a box. It just like it gets put in, and you can access both the touchpad on the front and the trigger on the back. We're also planning on having a cardboard cutout of a bird so that people at the end can take little Polaroid pictures with the birds. That's what we'd be spending our budget on, is film. And we also like to, we have a magazine cover at the end of the game, and we'd like to have those Polaroid pictures like pasted onto the magazine cover so we could hand them out at the end. So kind of cute. Yeah, that's our theme guide. Do you have anything else to add? Okay, cool. Please play our work. Just play the video.
Hello, welcome to ETC Bird Watching today. Last week, someone spotted the extinct ivory-billed woodpecker, and today we're going to be here looking for that species. It has been extinct for 150 years, but we're going to be taking the first photographic evidence of the species' return. On your left, you will see the other birds that are in this region. Let's take pictures of them too! Whenever you take a picture, it will overwrite that species picture, so when you have a picture that you like, don't take another picture of that species. Let's go have fun. Wait, to lure out the ivory-billed woodpecker, we want to use its call. Everyone with me say, caw-caw! Caw-caw! Let's go have fun looking for this woodpecker. To your right, you can see a falcon running around. Oh, nice picture. Let's go. Come on, let's lure out that woodpecker. We want him. We'll be the most famous bird watchers ever. Nice picture of those Mexican spotted owls. Very clean. Family of owl. Nice. Oh, you can hear them go cuckoo. That is such a cute family of those owls. All right, let's see what else is around us. Come on, we want that woodpecker. Oh, no. Nice It's a California condor. Those are super endangered and incredibly rare. But that's not our woodpecker. We want our woodpecker. What's that? Do you hear it? It's somewhere around here. It's gotta be. Come on, we gotta be the most famous bird watchers. There it is. Where? Come on, take a picture. Oh, you got it. Come on, come on. Oh, let's even get it. Oh, look what's right there. Oh, almost today. This is so cool. We've got photographic evidence of a supposedly extinct species. You're gonna be the most famous bird watchers ever. Nice. Let's get a nice picture of this California condor coming right up. Oh my bye. We did it! You're on the front of Time magazine! Wow! Thank you for writing.
All right, I love the energy. No, this is, so one, just a lovely idea for a world, like a great match for Cave, which is you need to restrict the guests, right? So you need a way to sort of say, hey, guest, don't think about moving too much. So hot air balloon is a really great idea. It matches sort of the idea of being sort of slow and looking around. So just core here is a really solid approach, and the idea of bird watching like ties into that super well. I'm skeptical that bird watching from a hot air balloon is really the way you'd go birding. Like it's just like there's some reality here which you're stretching a little bit. But the core thing is really great. The camera seems to work. Like, so I have the Vive controller and I've got a little display on the screen and I click and like the picture is update. How are you detecting what I take a picture of and like putting it into like a sorting thing? Like you took a picture of this now. Is that happening? All right. I mean, it looks like that the mechanic of this looks really, really interesting in the sense of like, yeah, no, you're motivating the guests to like watch for birds. You're trying to collect and really play into what birding is. Like it's looking, finding, collecting, all that stuff. And then the other guest is controlling the hot air balloon. So talk a little bit how that interface works.
So there are cords.
Yeah.
And there are ropes attached to cords. And when you pull the cord, Yan at the computer presses.
All right, there's an incredibly complicated AI that analyzes the cord pulling and triggers the appropriate action. Love it. And reasons why you can do that. Like the responsiveness of a hot air balloon is incredibly slow. Like no one expects it to be instantaneous, and so you can play with that. So, clever choices. Some of the best moments of this are like the California condor coming out and being able to call it out. And so hey, look at that. And I think that's one thing I would look at in this whole world is the idea of moments. And there's a little bit of iteration on your script to do. Like you kind of like just, you kind of jump in like, we're looking for the ivory-billed woodpecker. I would like bring a little more mystery. Like we've heard rumors, right? Like they think it's out there, but you're kind of like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna find it. And I'd be a little bit more like, is it there? Like, because this is like a very real mystery, right? Like the sense of it, does it exist and all that stuff. There's some weirdness to the fact that we're looking for a woodpecker in a canyon. And this is some of the stuff you just might want to call out. Like, I mean, and like legitimately, like I just Googled it. Like legitimately, it is sort of like a southwestern species. So like it kind of does have some connections to the area, but it's definitely lives in the woods. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so this isn't like you have to like change your story. You just have to like acknowledge some of the things. Like we've like, and for instance, like we've heard rumors of it. Like our expectation would be to like the old growth forest to the north, but someone said they saw it down here. Like go ahead, like use some reality, use your world, and connect them together a little bit. And so, like I said, when there are specific birds that are doing interesting things that sort of like show up, those are some of your strongest moments. Some of the birds are a little weird. Like the birds fly in this world in ways that I've never seen birds fly. But and sometimes it's really nice. Like you've got like a world that feels full of birds. I would ask you like to figure out what to do with that, because you've got a nice sort of like you got some really clear moments. Like we're here to find the ivory-billed woodpecker, and so like that's a good setup. Like we're going to keep watching. You've got a call. It's a little unclear like what the guests are supposed to do with the call, because it does not seem like it's. When we start calling at the beginning, it's not going to like bring the ivory-billed woodpecker out. So what I might think about is like, okay, like teach the guest the call, but then there's a point in the world where it's like, wait, did you hear that? Like, I think I heard it. Let's see if we can call it in, right? So I would work on structuring your moments a little more intentionally to like be about this story about finding it. And that gets a little bit to like, to why are we taking pictures of other stuff? And a little bit of it is because we can, and it's because the world is about birding. You have a little bit, I think your world is a little bit on one side, it's a big year, which is like, let's see a lot of birds. And the other side, it's like, let's see if we can discover the long-lost ivory-billed woodpecker. And I think unifying those two would be a thing to do. So I might bring the story into a place where it's like, okay, like welcome to their birding tour. Like we just got news this morning that a long-lost ivory-billed woodpecker has been spotted in the area. I don't want to like overpromise, but there is a chance we could go down in history with this. And so like pull on the idea that it's both a birding tour and there's a chance. So like that's a little bit of the iteration here is like, in some sense, the world doesn't change at all. It's just the story you pull the guests through. You structure it a little bit more directly. And I would look for within that, like you have birds here which aren't hard to find. They're just right there in your face. Okay, what does that mean for the guest? Like, is it about getting a good picture of them? Okay, like help me understand that. And I think that's mostly like the main thing is there's a world here that has some intentional choices. Like there's birds that are easy to find. They're like flying around. They're kind of moving quickly. There's some birds that are like moments where like all of a sudden like this bird shows up and there's a bird we're trying to find. And so within that, it does feel like there is a full interest curve. And now it's your job to get that story and pull the guests through it so it makes sense to everyone. And like some of that might be like with the hot air balloon, like, oh my gosh, like go up, go up, go up. We're about to hit that. Like, can you help guide the guests into knowing what they're doing? Because you've got a really solid fantasy and a really solid like structure within here. And so now it's just like connecting it all to the guests. So it makes more and more sense to them. But it's great. I mean, I love the whole idea of like the cover at the end. It's a little, it's a little funny because the picture you took and the picture's probably going to suck. But it does connect these things in a way that I think you will get guests coming out feeling like they did this whole experience. So a lot of good stuff. I'm excited to go try it. Cool. Sure.
All we're missing is Meg Chair.
We have two then.
Maybe festival.
All right, let's talk through it.
This is our brainstorming and some of our meeting notes. And the actual concept art is the last page, actually. So this is our layout diagram. We divided the cavern room into two separate spaces. One space is for the Voxen guy to do the hacker things. And the back, the cavern space is to find clues and walk around to use the Vive tracker. The Vive tracker will act as a torch, and you will see. You can only use Vive trackers to see the clues on the walls. Yes, and this is our user flow. We separate to two users. One is in cavern, and the other is in Voxen, and they have different tasks, and they have to cooperate to figure out the puzzle.
And this is the Voxum concept arts, and this one is the Caverns concept arts. That's pretty much of our themings.
All right, yeah, I mean, you're very, like, you know which room you'd be in. You're in the cavern room, and so like part of your trick is splitting the space between two guests.
Yeah.
Is the goal for the guests to feel like they're in different spaces, or is it expected that the guests will? Does the world think that the guests are like just next to each other? I guess I'm wondering.
We originally thinking we separate them. One is in the central control room, which is Voxum. Another one is in the museum hall. But for festival, we don't have enough space, and we can just separate and cavern space is quite big, so we can just separate them, and they have to hear each other, so we just separate the space into two.
Yeah, and I'm just sort of wondering, like, when you run festival, do you want to pretend like the guests are in very different places, or is it okay to be like, yeah, no, like the control room's right next door, like it's connected to the gallery space and stuff like that? I think that's just a question for like the way you run this.
I think with suspension of disbelief, I think this will be fine. That they can communicate between each other via shouting or via talking regularly, because they are going to be communicating. You know, if they're actually going to be doing this, it's going to be like a walkie-talkie thing. But the way it's currently situated, since they're right next to each other in a physical, real space, I think there is significant suspension of disbelief, so that people won't go like, "Wait, what the heck? Yeah. I'm robbing this auction hall and I am screaming around."
Well, and we'll try it out in a second. And I think it'll be a question when you present it to jury, because one of the things you want to be careful of is if the guests feel like they are breaking the rules of the world because it's convenient, that could interfere with belief. Yeah. And so it's a little question as like when you think about how do you present it, how do you own the idea that it's, you know, a museum space in the fiction, and we're like there's a hacker breaking in. It's also the constraints are, you know, putting the guests together in the same space. So it's just a little bit of like, I would probably own it a little bit when you present it. It's like, you know, yeah, the control room's right next door. You can shout, but be careful. Like there are guards around. So shouting and making a lot of noise, not a great idea. Like you could do some little things, which is like just acknowledging to the guest that yes, the person's right over there, but you got to be quiet, and little things like that. All right, let's watch the video.
Okay. Our video is 10 minutes long, so you can cut from 6 to 8.
Hello, my fellow.
The 6 minutes to 8 minutes, they are solving the most difficult puzzle. So if you are bored, you can, when it turns to 6, you can jump to.
Oh, gotcha.
Accomplices, we have come to the Hensi auction hall to rob it of its paintings and other artworks. So a couple weeks ago, another crew came in and they got caught. Before they got caught, they scrawled some stuff in onto the walls and other painting pieces with magic marker. And these clues are left for us. We are now here to take these paintings and artworks. You will be the Voxum man, hacker. You will be in the auction hall taking paintings and helping the hacker hack into the security systems. You got this.
Yay!
All right, let's make some money.
So what's your job fighting?
I'm the ringleader. I set this whole thing up. My boxes, I paid for it.
Alright.
Your hood hat, I paid for it. I have supplied you all. Okay. You, I also, as the ringleader, I'm giving you a special lamp, which will allow you to see the magic mark.
Thank you.
So, go explore.
The Hensi Auction House. ETCS. ETCS. Lion, ETCS.
ETCS?
Yes, ETCS. The green one is rectangle, half circle.
Wait a second, the green one?
Yeah, green one. A rectangle, half circle.
Green one, rectangle?
Rectangle, yeah, the first is, the shape is rectangle. And second one is a semicircle, half circle. And the third one is like 5 lines.
Hexagon.
Yeah, and the fourth one is a triangle.
1539.
Jerry.
1539?
Yeah, 1539. Oh, wait, it's 1536. Then. Oh, what the hell?
What?
Wait, is it like triangle and...
No, the first one is a rectangle, the second one is a semicircle, and the last one is triangle.
Oh, 9531. Sorry. Is it right?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
There's 9 rectangles. You see it?
Yeah.
And so the first rectangle is empty. The first rectangle on the left corner is empty. And the other two on the first line is with marks.
Which color?
It's red. Red color.
Can you repeat it?
Red color. The first line, the first rectangle on the left up corner is empty.
7.
Okay. And in the second line, the first rectangle is marked, and the last rectangle is empty. And the middle one is like a box. So what's that?
Can you repeat it?
In the second line, on the first one is marked, the last one is empty. The middle one is like...
So it should be like 9 rectangles, right?
Yeah, 9 rectangles.
Is there a third line?
The third line, like the middle is marked, the other two are empty.
So there are only 2 marks.
There are 4 marks. The first line, in the first line, only the first rectangle is empty. The other two are marked.
So the first one is marked.
The first one is empty. On the first line.
Yes. Several hours later.
Yes, several hours later.
We can switch.
340.
Just switch. Okay. Just switch to other. Do you see like the yellow one? A2B1, C2B3.
Oh, wait a second. Yellow one?
Yeah. A2B1, C2B3.
A2B1, C2
B3.
A2 is 4.
4.
B1 is 3.
3.
C2 is 9.
9.
B3 is 2.
4, 3, 9, 2.
Yeah.
What is this? A3, B1, C1, C2.
Which color?
Green.
Green? Green? Is it gray?
Gray, probably.
Okay, so like what's the...
A3, B1, C1, C2.
6354.
The orange shapes.
Okay.
Hurt, hexagon, the cross, and
5417.
What?
5417.
The cyan or blue marks, shapes. Circle, rectangle, star, triangle.
2378. This circle, rectangle, right? Rectangle. Star.
Yeah, rectangle.
Star, triangle.
Star, triangle.
Oh, 2873. Sorry.
Okay, so back to the rest. 9.
Is it the last one?
I guess it is. Yeah.
We just repeat the sequence again?
Yeah, sure. So in the first line, the triangle on the left up corner is empty. The other two are marked with a cross or like a wrong marker. And for the second line, the first triangle is marked, and the second triangle is with box, with a box. And
what's on the first line?
It's not marked, marked.
Oh shit, I can't get this one.
All right, let's talk about this briefly because we're gonna go try it out. One, the basic idea is really great. I mean, you've just watching it, it looks like you've made the cavern into a museum. Like the visuals really bring it to life, and it looks like the Vive flashlight like is interacting with light on the stuff, and like there's a few moments where like just seeing that, I was like, whoa, like that really sells the illusion, and the separation between the cavern as a space. That's, you know, a museum that we're trying to steal from, and the use of the Voxon as a hacker interface, I think is really clever. Like the Voxon is kind of this magical, like 3D tool. Like if we're seeing it in a movie, like yeah, it would show up as like this sort of like magical technology piece that hacks things, and you're using it in a very simple way, but I think an effective way, which is we're rotating a cube to like rotate to different colors. And the whole setup, like you got these relatively simple puzzles, but it's a lot of back and forth and communication. Like it's very much like the two people working together. So a lot of it's just working really, really well. You clearly have one puzzle that's harder than the others. And so interest curve wise, I might put that one near the end, or I don't know, maybe the beginning, like they skip around. But I think the overall design of this seems to be just working super well. The alarm going off at the end, what triggered that?
So there's a clock. When you hack in, you basically have a timer.
Okay.
Until the security systems get back online.
Okay, so like there is the idea of a clock is set up. Is it visible somewhere?
The Voxon person. Yeah.
Okay, the Voxon's person watching it. Yeah, so I would, one of the things I might do is find ways to like really make that more visible. Like have a little announcement is like, 30 seconds until security system's back online. Like something that's not really a thing that would happen in reality, but like just for like.
I believe we have that, don't we?
We have some hints from Voxon, like 30 minutes will be the alert, but it's in the end. We don't want to put it in the middle because it's distracting.
Well, and I guess to the point of your world, I would think about interest curve.
Oh, yes.
And you got something that's I get into and I sort of focus on. And I think you do want kind of like, you basically want to give me the beginning is like, I'm learning this. The middle is, we figured this out. Now we're going to steal all the paintings. But the ending isn't, did we get the last one? I think you want like 2 minutes of rushing. You want the guests to not quite be able to get them all. And the last two paintings are like, they're trying to do them fast. And I think that would be the thing I'd push on, is can you get them to a place where they're like really rushing for the last couple and they're messing up and they're struggling because they're rushing. And like that's sort of like your interest curve, right?
That's where we put that hard puzzle.
Yeah, so like you want them to feel nervous. You want them to feel like, oh, we got to get this or we're going to get caught. And so you want that idea of the clock ticking in their head more than just the last little moment. You definitely want at least one whole painting where they are trying desperately to get it, but it's counting down. So you want that collision. So you actually want to distract them. You want them to feel like they don't have the ability to focus because you want that contrast. Like the beginning is, I'm uncertain, I'm figuring it out. The middle is, yes, we're smart, we're focusing, we've got this, we're really good. But the ending is, the alarm's going off or it's about to go off and like there's lights flashing and we can't do it and we're getting distracted and we're like, ah! Like, so I would push there. But overall, like really, really solid design. You definitely have a challenge, which is it's long. And for festival, like long just means fewer guests can do it. And I might think about ways you could separate things. Like, could you do something where in the hallway, you're training people? So the next crew is being trained. Here's what you're about to do. It's short. It's basically you get the intro, but can you overlap some things? You could definitely do more than 2 guests with this. Like especially the gallery space, like having one person who's kind of like the runner between the person with the flashlight and the keypad could make some sense. I could see, and even just having people in the room experiencing it, like a group of 4 feels like it would be comfortable because you've got a big space. And honestly, like more chaos, like, hey, hurry up. Like it's going off. Like someone just watching the clock. Like there's just little bits of story that I think would work. And so I would definitely recommend for jury, like have a sense that this could go more than 2 guests. Because if this is a like 12-minute experience with 2 guests, it's a very slow world. I think it's a great use of the space, but the throughput would be a thing I would like, if you can comfortably say, yeah, 4 guests is what it's designed for, which I think, like looking at it, I think 4 guests would work decently well.
Do you think that 4 guests, like one guy in the box and then 3 people actually in the cavern, would they all need toward the flashlight?
No, like this. Yeah, we're talking like this is more a social experience, right? We're all in it together. We're all watching it. We're listening. We're all getting frustrated together. Like you don't really have to have 4 roles. It could be like we're all here. I would try it out, but like I said, I think you could do multiple guests. And we're going to try it in a second. So really cool stuff. Yeah. Good work.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's the last one for now. We're going to go up and check it out. Double check. All right.
Yeah, we'll definitely need a ladder for that.
There's a phone up
Yeah,
here.
we'll definitely need a ladder.
Yeah. All right, let me strapped in.
Yeah, so we changed the controllers a little bit. Currently it will detect your position. So here is up, down, left, right.
Alright.
Yeah. And hold the trigger to fire.
Alright.
The left hand trigger.
So just one controller or two controllers?
Yeah,
Yes,
one
that's
controller.
one
We'll just
controller.
give gas to the left controller.
This one.
Yeah, this one.
All right.
Once gave the wrong controller to the player.
Yeah.
So he is so confused.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Start.
You're not.
Whoa! Oh my God.
Excuse
All
me.
right.
Sorry.
Hi, Lauren.
Woo.
Dang.
Oh man, dragons look so good. Oh man.
Here's something. Turn up the volume. Turn up the sound. Up. Thanks.
Oh man. Yeah, the controls feel really nice. The boats are a little strange, but it's pretty.
Yeah.
I can't just shoot all the time.
That's not expected.
Honestly, a reaction of mine is like, why not just like spend 30 minutes just blowing up boats?
Pump all together so it's easier to burn. Yeah, actually it's kind of boss fight.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the end. Yeah, this is the edit. Thank you for playing. Stop it.
All right.
How much percent
Oh yeah, we
here?
said 100%. It absolutely delivers on the fantasy of riding a dragon and flying around. Like I said, the dragons look gorgeous. The fire looks great. The world looks great. The movement feels really good. There's some parts where it's a little jumpy, but for the most part, like it's like especially the cliff dive, like you've got a really I think the opening you've got it's just long enough, right? It's like we're up here. There's some dragons. You hear the roar. It rumbles. And then we dive off and we get into it. And it really like sells what we're doing. And like flying around and like blasting ships is fun. Like the controls are great. Like the fact that the dragon is bending with me gives me a lot of really good feedback. And I mean, I would say my main reaction is it's short. Like I just want to Like part of me is like, no, it should be short enough so more people can play it. Another part of me is like, yeah, like let me fly around for an hour and just like blow up ships. And the man, the ending where the boats pull together is interesting. It was definitely like the giant ball of ships crashed effectively off screen for me. And so the one thing would be, can you get the connection between the finale and my actions to be tighter? Like the end. So the ending right now, like the true like ending of this is the giant ball of ships basically blows up and just gets destroyed, right? And for me, that happened like off to the side, and I would say that should only like it should happen not because it's like burning, but because like I'm flying at it and I'm staring at it, and it like my fire like in that moment caused it to happen. So can you connect my actions, which is flying at it and breathing fire on it, and it blowing up or whatever, together more tightly, so that there is a better connection between I did this and it resulted in this. And it's the little bit of the danger of fire is an attack, which is like I set things on fire and then they like possibly slowly die, as opposed to I set them on fire and they blow up and they're clearly gone. And so like I think you want a more instantaneous ending with the boats, like a lot of damage, and then this happens. And that's probably like the one little thing is just like the sense of progression in your world is a little hard to catch, right? There's a lot of boats. It feels great to go through them and attack them and set them on fire. But the connection between I did this and the world has changed is a little hard to feel because of that, the whole thing. Like I can feel like I put a lot of things on fire, but like I built to this big finale. It's like just a little bit, like some tweaking. But yeah, it's like all the stuff that is working really well. And so it's just that little bit of extra to make it go, like basically have people cheer at the end. Like your goal is spontaneous shouting, spontaneous, yeah, I did it, for that final moment. And I think people get it happened, but I don't think you're quite at the place where they're cheering. But I bet you can get there. I bet you can get to a place where people are like, yeah, like take that giant thing of boats. I did it. So yeah, it's really great. Is there a little bit of motion blur in this?
No, actually no. We have.
I noticed at the beginning when I moved my head, like it seems like I don't know, I couldn't tell if it was like a shader effect or something like that going on. I noticed at the beginning when things are still, but once things are moving, I didn't notice anymore. But overall, like everything just is really great. Yeah. So good work. Cool.
Thank you.
All right, let's do Jammer Drum. What, this is the pad that might break?
Yeah.
I'll take this pad.
Okay, me and you are on.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, yeah. You can play it. Okay.
My reindeer and I are retiring, and I need one of you to take our place. Those who wish to become the next Santa must prove their worth by delivering as many presents as possible this Christmas. We've installed new rocket booster navigation systems on the sleigh.
Just tapping, skip
And
the intro. We can watch this. I mean, I'm thinking like it's a little long and slow, but it provides good information. So if I'm watching it and we all get it, like we could just skip it. I'm up.
Yes, and I'm left right.
I'm left and right. Vertical.
Oh no! Still up.
Oh, sorry. I crashed it. Hey, get out of our area. Get out of here.
I like the bells are really nice. Like the bells sort of like, hey, they're coming back. I was like wondering, like, the strategy like farm or like. Yes.
Yes, we're so
all right,
efficient.
we're so good. Let's go.
Okay, here we go.
Go up.
Go up.
Oh, us. All right, let's go up.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, what do you want?
We won.
Yeah, I definitely want like a better sense of like who's in the lead.
Oh, here's the.
Yeah, I know. Like in the scene transition,
Like,
is
the
a
scene
good.
transition.
It's like the opportunity to like, really sell that.
Make more Santa art.
My brain is like really struggling to like not go left and right with stuff.
This is so hard.
Yes.
Oh, tie. Tiebreaker.
We got to use this one.
Alright. Oh, they're winning. Oh no!
All right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing would be really pulling the score into a place that's more visible. Like my brain is focused on our sled, and so I have to like consciously pull my brain away from the sled over to here to pick up on score. And even in the transitions, like I'm not thinking of that. And so my guess is most of your guests will not see the score, and the fact that you have these levels. And I guess one thing I don't really understand right now is it cumulative score or is it like number of rounds won? Like what is the result for who wins and how?
Number of rounds won.
Number of rounds.
Okay. Yeah, and so like that's like just the kind of question is like, what do the guests need to know? And if this is all about winning, I don't really know how to win. I know how to like do well, which is like score more presence. But if it's number of rounds won, like it sort of needs to be clear because if someone wins the first 2 rounds, so they won, which means the third round is meaningless, right? Which is not great. And so I think that's you want to get that clarity, and then I think you may want to consider balance. So like the guests should really know who's in the lead, round to round, who won, and then when we get to the last round, I should understand what I need to do to win. But yeah, no, like the controls are fun, they're chaotic. It's definitely I think I would like an indicator, a vertical indicator. Like the flame doesn't really tell the story for me. And I was getting my brain when I look at the sled, I can sort of feel the up and down, but there's no feedback that connects my spinner to something I can use to measure. So I don't know if I'm neutral. I don't know if I'm like that. So that would be another, like, probably not a jury thing. I think jury is, can you really clarify winning and progress? But there's another piece, which is that I think giving more feedback on the sleigh to the controls would help someone really understand the controls better. Like, the chaos works for a lot of this, but I found myself just like not quite connecting things. I think feedback is yeah, still good.
Thank you.
All right.
Did we do like 3 different size flames? Because I never noticed.
Cave is next.
We did.
Okay.
All right.
How are we getting there? Am I walking down?
You should be walking down. Oh my god, that thing just
We also
did
have
not like that.
Are we streaming as we go, or are we? this is very, make it work.
Okay. So wait.
We need to drive it.
Yeah, I think we need to drive. Yeah, it's for experience. Yeah, for experience. Here's a camera.
I'll be the camera.
So you zoom in with the top button, you zoom out with the bottom,
All right,
and you
zoom
click
controls,
to
click.
yes, click to take pictures.
Nice.
Let's turn off
I want a fake lens.
You have to hold it like this, by the way.
Oh, I hold it like
yeah,
this?
Yes. Or it doesn't work.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
All right, check it in.
Yeah.
Okay, driver.
Yeah.
Welcome to our ETC bird watching adventure.
Right.
Yesterday we heard rumors that an extinct species, the ivory-billed woodpecker, was found here in this location, which is very odd because normally you'd find it like north, closer to the forest. But now it's here. So as we're on our bird watching adventure looking for our local regional birds, we're gonna try to see if we can find this extinct species and capture photographic evidence of it. Let's go! Very nice picture of that northern cardinal right there.
Some birds down there.
Oh, nice. Oh, look, he's on part of you.
There is very common.
Nice falcon picture. All right, let's make sure we don't crash into this rock. So let's move up. Oh.
Ooh. See the owls are there.
Oh, that's a cute family of Mexican spotted owls. So, as I said earlier, we did spot, or not we, but someone did say that they spotted the ivory-billed woodpecker in this area. So, the ivory-billed woodpecker has a call that we can try to say to see if we can make it come closer. So, I want everyone with me. Maybe we have to keep doing it. I hear it. Oh, maybe it's around here. Oh my god. Oh, look in front of us. It's a California condor. Those birds are incredibly endangered. It's super, super rare to see one. So your picture, amazing, spectacular.
Nice. That picture.
Let's not crash into this rock either. Woo! Nice tunnel.
There's like trees up there.
Maybe we'll see the woodpecker there.
It was definitely like knocking on wood.
All right, let's see if we can call it. There it is.
Wait, there it is where?
We heard it. My bad. Wait, there's one right there. Get the picture. Yes, you got it. Oh my god, we've got photographic evidence of this supposedly extinct species. We're gonna be super famous now. Come on. We haven't seen it for 150 years. Oh, in front of us, there's another California condor. You are really like getting all these super rare birds. Like, come on, what's going on here? Woo! Woo! You did it. You're a super famous bird watcher now. The most famous. Wow, isn't that amazing?
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you for riding with ETC Bird Adventures, and we will like take our payment like up front, like from a check, cash or card. We'll take it all.
Talk to the director of the program.
All right, we're gonna switch thoughts.
All right. Yeah, let's talk about this. So the whole fiction is great. picture. I think that's a little bit of the clarity of like, okay, what are we trying to do as guests here? Is it pure just collection and getting one picture? Because it's a little challenge with the condor, right?
Yeah.
The condor comes and we see it, but then it comes again, and my brain's like, what am I doing with the second condor? And so I think that's would be just a little thing to resolve is we don't just encounter these birds once. We encounter them multiple times. And because of that, I'm looking for a reason what to do with like, we see in the peregrine falcon again and again and again. So is it like count of pictures? Is it like getting a better picture? And the world doesn't really have an answer at the moment.
Yeah.
Definitely like the little, so the woodpecker, the sound effect you have is it drumming on a tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your fiction has us calling it and we're listening for it, and then we see it and it's flying around, and like not to like push a little bit on like the reality of looking for a woodpecker, but you do have trees and we're getting to them. And so I think the woodpecker's a little too in your face in this. Like I think I would really push more for the mystery of like those trees. Maybe that's the answer, right? So we've been going through canyon and it's rock, and we've been hearing the sound. Like no, it sounds like it's like drumming. It's not the call; it's the drumming of the woodpecker. Truthfully, from a birding perspective, I don't think you can identify woodpeckers from their drumming.
Oh no.
But whatever. Like we've heard there's woodpeckers in the area. There's a chance that sound is. We know it's a woodpecker. Like you can hear it distinctly. Like let's even find it. So I think it's still about this build to this moment. And I think I would make the woodpecker moment more of a singular moment. And I think I would go with the trees, right? Because you got them. We get there. And with that, like it's a little bit of like how do you resolve these other moments? And I think like the you have what it feels like 3 stages of birds. You've got the simple common ones, which is the cardinal, the owls, and the falcon. And the cuckoo, right? We have a cuckoo in there too. So there's those. And then you have the rare but expected condor. And then you have the possibly extinct, we made the cover of Time magazine, of the woodpecker. And I think that's, if I were like looking at how to like map this out, I would like, how do you get the guest to understand those 3 stages of birds? Like, do you tell me like, oh, like with some more falcons, like maybe we can get like, why should we get another picture of them, right? And is there an answer for that? And same with the condor and things like that. It could be like, oh, like it's another one. Like if we get another picture, like the researchers can use the second picture. Like there'd be a little bit of like connecting the story to the mechanics, because when we take a picture, it just swaps it out. So it's not clear. Like for instance, if the pictures had a count, it's like you've taken 25 pictures of peregrine falcons. Like my brain would sort of like know that quantity is something that's tracking, and I would like be aiming for stuff. Now, you don't want something like just clicking endlessly, like, you know, taking a ton of pictures. But like I said, it's a question for the world. Like, why do I take more pictures? But overall, like picture taking is fun. Like the whole thing doesn't. It does feel like if someone's flying the hot air balloon, they could get into like the whole like dodging stuff. It is a bit more of a passive role. But I don't know. Like I mean, I think for the most part you could think about, can you incorporate the guest who's flying the hot air balloon into the woodpecker moment too? Okay. Right? So it's like, oh, like for instance, this would require like a little level restructuring. The trees are up there, right? So we have to climb to get to the trees. So could you do something where both guests are involved in that final moment? That's what I'd sort of look for. I honestly, like the zoom didn't do too much for me, mostly because most of the zoom is just too zoomed out. I'm like, you actually have a funny thing with like, which is a real thing with cameras, which is like most cameras don't give me like effectively what eyesight gives me in terms of like the scale. So I wanted either scale, like standard scale on the scene, or more zoomed in. I never wanted anything zoomed farther out. It's actually visually confusing to have the zoom be farther out than the render view of what I'm seeing. So I might just like tighten the range to be visual scale and closer, and then just like give me, and whatever that range is, just give me that control, as opposed to zooming way out, because there's no satisfaction in getting a far away shot of a bird. Right. All the satisfaction is getting a close shot. But yeah, like I like the fact that you're already adapting your story. So yeah. Like you've got a nice complete experience that it's a great fit for the cave. I like the idea of putting like clouds down here, all that stuff. So I would like, I think I got used to this. This ended up working, but I like a more camera-y thing could be nice. But overall, like all the pieces are actually in a very good enough space. So there's just like stuff to like make it more. All right, let's go. Yeah, let's take the stairs.
Buddy to play with?
Steve, you want to be the hacker?
I'm the buddy, alright.
I'll be in the room. I mean, it makes sense that Steve's the hacker, right?
Oh yeah. So
Just
let me give you guys the spiel.
Okay.
Sorry, can I be on this?
So some months ago, well, really, yeah, it seems like months ago, but it's been some weeks ago. A lot has happened in that short time frame. So a previous crew staked this place out, then went on and went on a heist. They got busted. Before they got busted, they wrote down some clues on the walls using magic marker. And we bought this information from them. They got life sentences. They won't really need those clues anymore. So we bought that information for them, and we'll be able to look for these clues once we're in the cavern system. These clues will help the hacker, you Steve, with the puzzles. And yes.
All right. What's the name of this place?
This is the Hensey Auction Hall.
All right.
And some newspapers reporting.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Oh yeah. This is the Daily News.
I mean, they've already caught the thieves. They're not looking for another crew to come in.
They're not.
Oh yeah, that's the last thing they're going to expect.
Yeah, like this is the right time to strike.
We were hoping they didn't change their passwords.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is the right IT protocol here is if someone hacks your system and like gets your passwords, don't change them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's like hackers would expect you to change them.
Well,
So-
there's a little bit of truth to that in terms of some forensic stuff. Because then if you alter anyway.
That's right. They're in the middle. They're probably in the middle of like trying to like retrace the steps of the hackers, and they've got the systems frozen.
Yeah,
there's a window right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Of like, it's time to strike.
Right.
All right, let's do this.
Yes. So.
All right.
So here is the lamp that will show the magic marker.
All right. So look at that. All right, Steve. Do you need anything? Like we're
I need to press enter apparently. Hold on.
All right. Find the enter key.
Okay, Dave, are you in?
I'm in.
Central control room activated.
Is that good or bad?
Central control room activated. Central control room activated.
Okay.
Please enter the password of Hentsi Auction Hall.
It's not actually volumetric yet, but
You need a
I need a password. Hook me up.
All right, I'm over here. There's definitely some marks on the wall. Someone seems to have. Oh, look, they've marked them like 1, 2, 3 with dots. I'm seeing an E, a T, a C, and an S. ETCS.
Oh, there we go.
Oh wait.
We got 448 seconds.
All right, the lights are on. Let's steal some paintings, I guess. All right. Steve, what do you see on your hacker interface?
I've got a hacker cube, apparently.
All right, I'm seeing some marks on the wall that are in different colors.
Yes, I have
colors being sent to you.
I have pretty much every color in the overlay, so I can get orange by looking at it from yellow to red, I guess.
The first markings I have are in green.
Green?
Yeah.
I can see green.
I got 4 green symbols. Ooh, it looks like over here I've got a password interface. So if do symbols, I've got a square, a half circle, a pentagon, and a triangle in green. Does that mean anything to you?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Is there a graphic in the back I'm not looking at? Oh ho! Hacker just got something.
What do you got?
All right. So, I think this is the blue.
Sorry.
Blue side is a check mark. Green side is a pentagon.
Blue side.
Red side is a cross, and the white side is a heart. I'm sorry. Never mind.
What I've got, it looks like.
No. I try again. Check mark equals 7.
What?
Pentagon equals 4. Cross equals 1, and heart equals 5. Does that help?
Not. Well, I guess it looks like the color is closely tied to the shapes. So I've got like 4 green symbols all together.
Oh, I've got to. Oh, I see.
So I've got. It looks like if I had to guess. Like,
I'm going to point the green
are a password.
down. All right, I pointed green down into down the y-axis, negative y-axis, and I have a number puzzle. Does that mean anything?
I've got over here like a password entry device. I'm looking for numbers. I think I'm looking for numbers. Translating these symbols into numbers and then entering them as a password.
Symbols into numbers. Okay, I had that earlier.
All right.
Okay, I've got triangle, pentagon, square, and semicircle.
Okay, I've got it in the order I have is square,
Yeah.
semicircle, pentagon, and triangle.
All right, it's 9531.
9, 5, 3, 1. All right.
Yes.
That instantly you stole the painting, but it's doing it.
Okay.
Our crew in the background is doing a good job.
Okay.
All right, I've got a red. Well, the red one is very different. So I've got. The red one is like a square with X's in it. Does that make sense to you?
If I point the red side down, rotation is not relative; it's absolute. So, I've got more number to symbol. That's not what you need, though, right?
Well, I guess I've got a bunch of them. So I've got a red one, which is like a grid, a 3x3 grid of squares with X's in them.
Okay.
I've got a yellow one, which is 4 coordinates, A2, B1, C2, B3.
Okay.
I've got one that's a color that's kind of hard to make out. It's grayish, greenish, which is another set of coordinates.
Okay.
And then I've got an orange one, which is 4 symbols, heart, pentagon, cross, check.
Okay.
And then a cyan one, which is circle, square, star, triangle.
Okay, I've got that.
Okay. Circle, square, star, triangle.
2873.
2873.
I've got to hurry, or my rainbow table crack of the hash is going to be.
Wait, there's the time limit?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I tried to make it dirty.
All right, can we go to, how about orange?
All right, right, I've got another grid with just numbers.
Okay.
Like ABC 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, I've got a and in yellow I've got A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 stuff.
Yes, it's yellow. This one's
Okay,
yellow.
I've got A2, B1, C2, B3.
All right, A2 is 4.
4.
C1 is
B1.
Oh, B1 is 3.
4, 3. C2.
C2 is 9.
4, 3, 9. B3.
B3 is 2.
4, 3, 9, 2. All right. All right, we got it. All right, I've got an orange symbol one. Heart, pentagon, cross, check.
Yes. Heart, pentagon, cross check is 5417.
5417. All right. All right, we got it. We got 4 down.
2 minutes left.
All right, we got this. We got this.
I got the gray number puzzle here.
All right, I got a great number puzzle. A3.
6.
6. I think that's B1. Three. 6, 3. C1.
5.
6, 3, 5. C2.
4.
6, 3, 5, 2. 6, 3, 5, 4.
6, 3, 5, 4.
All right, we're down to the last one. The red puzzle. And so the top row is blank, XX. The second row is X, 3D cube, blank. And the bottom row is blank, X, blank. Does that make any sense?
Has this got little dots representing the numbers?
I just have crosses, X's in the squares. It looks like, do you have, I would guess, do you have like an arrangement of just numbers in boxes around? So it looks like
little dots in the corner.
Sure, I don't see any dots, but like it might match. So the first row, I'm seeing nothing, and then X, and then X. So the second and the third square in the top row have X's. Do those map to something?
Now what I have is a 3x3 grid with numbers filled in all of them and little dots in the corners that don't match the numbers. Dots, numbers of dots. Let me keep searching here.
Is it red?
It is, yeah, like pinkish red.
All right.
This, because it's absolute control, the gimbal lock.
Gimbal lock will be our downfall.
Gimbal locked. I think we've got us. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
The hack is over.
Wait.
Hacking shutting down.
Oh no. Well, the Goya will be forever locked away.
Were we able to like upload some Bitcoin?
I mean, we got 5. I feel like it's good enough. We can split them, retire in comfort. The last one. Making progress. It was interesting, like having just to like communicate about like what are you looking at.
Yeah, that was the meta part of that.
There is your bounty.
Oh right, look at that. Wait, this is so we sold the paintings, and your connection to the black market sold them.
Yes.
And you sold them for cookies.
Yes.
Like that's where we're going with this. Like we don't we risked our lives. Someone's in life. Someone the previous crew has life in prison, and this is what they're trying to get. They all right. No, don't worry. No, it was really good.
So I want to know what you saw, and I can describe to you what I saw.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so you could go to any section anytime.
Yeah. So like basically the room. Can you bring up the space?
You got a virtual flashlight?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Vive controller, it's not really designed to look at a flashlight yet, but I can move it around and it.
We can.
There we go.
Yes.
This is the space.
Yes, we can switch.
Yeah. So this is what I can do. So this was the password
Oh,
puzzle.
look at this. Look at his normal maps. Look at
Look at that. When is someone gonna get like?
Oh wait, it's modeled to that shape? No normal maps? Nice.
This is the puzzle we were working on.
Okay. Oh. Huh.
So I'm guessing if you had a grid of numbers, like this number, this number, this number, this number is what we're going for.
Well, see, what's confusing is our numbers are all filled in, and then in the corner of each one of these is 3 little dots, 2 little dots, 5 little dots, and I thought that was.
What do the dots mean?
Or was it the wrong puzzle?
Oh, order. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I think this puzzle doesn't need the order problem. Like I just go left to right, top to bottom, be fine.
No, I like the overt obscurity of some of it.
All right, yeah, no, like.
I think it's escalation.
Yeah. Oh, and I think that this is what I felt like. The alarm went off, and because there was no hint that time was going to be a thing, the alarm going off felt like the end. So it was like, oh, the alarm went off, we lost.
Oh, I thought so too. I walked away.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was my reaction too. It's like the alarm goes off, we're done. So I think you do want some level of escalation where it's like you have 2 minutes left. The alarm's like the soft alarm is going off.
Oh, gel bar animation just comes down across the whole screen.
But that you're missing the idea of you need to hurry. It's almost over. And then with that, you just need the final clarity of you got to get out of here. The alarm's going off. We got to run. But overall,
oh, you get a chance to escape. It's not like
well, and
the
I think,
cops are here and you've had it.
Yeah,
Okay.
my reaction was the alarm, and then I would look for you. It's like how do you get clarity? And there's a kind of a question which is, do we leave the room? Like, do you just play the fiction all the way and like have the guests run out of the hallway and then you just never see them again?
The meta
like,
of mixed reality. I actually love
or
that.
do you turn the lights back on and say, "Hey, good job, thank you for coming," and all that stuff? But there's a little bit of like that to play with. But this space is really fun. I mean, this is using the cavern in a really really nice way.
This is what I want. Like I designed this. I had ideas about the game, but my ideas were great. I was like, I know the students are gonna think of stuff I've never even considered, and here we are. So good.
And Steve, how did the Voxon feel as a hacking device?
It's probably the ultimate hacker interface. How well you can hack with it is a different thing, but like if you want people watching you hacking, you're going to look as cool as possible. No question there. Oh, cool. I'm actually kind of holding it like it's a candle in some ways. Don't burn those paintings, even though people are throwing creamed peas on paintings now. But so the Voxon interface, I like that it was not too easy. Like I can definitely see there being a desire to, well, you've got guests and there's only a few minutes, make them like tic-tac-toe or something like that. Now, I think someone mentioned earlier that the idea is that the puzzles increased in difficulty. Some were definitely harder than others. Is that as you go around, or is it random, or is it as you solve one, it queues up a harder one next? Do you control the escalation of difficulty, or is it just random?
Predetermined.
Predetermined?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's always this one.
Okay.
Well, and that's
To skip the puzzle is the very important action.
it's. I mean, we skipped it, right? We talked about this one, but then you're like, oh, I have this, and I think our progression was actually pretty good. It was like we kind of went through a progression of convenience.
Yeah, there was a moment most of the time where you were kind of direct, like you were going somewhere, and then I was trying to match it.
Yeah.
But then later I was like, well, what about something that looks like this?
Yeah.
It was me directing you or having you try to find it.
Yeah, I felt like our progression through it felt nice and natural, and we kind of gravitated to, okay, what can we achieve quickly, and like where is there? We were like basically talking through. It's like I see these symbols, and that feels like, and this one would naturally sort of be skipped because nothing about what I describe matches obviously, but whereas like the symbols of like, oh, I've got a green square, like connects visually to the hacker interface. So I think some of that design is really good because the ones that have visual symbols will probably guests would gravitate to those. Like, oh, I see that symbol, I see that color. Whereas the ones with coordinates are like a step up. I have to like connect the idea of coordinates. And then this one requires like connecting some more concepts.
The other thing that works, it's all, for me, it's all about working with the constraints. Maybe this was on purpose, maybe it was an accident. I have a front projected cave. I did my best to minimize shadows. But if you stand next to, this close to a painting in a museum, you're going to cast a shadow because that's where the lights are.
Yeah. And you do, and actually, like the world does a good job of that. You have these spotlights up here, illuminating the paintings. I don't know how intentional it was to like match the virtual light source to the way the projectors would go, but it means that my shadow kind of mimics the shadow of the thing. So it's, I mean, it's a really great space. Like I said, the only thing I think about, can you make the progression, bring in that interest curve a little bit more, and it is a little long, but overall it's a very complete experience, and I think it would fit well in festival. It's just, it would have a slow throughput. I think that's
yeah. This kind of goes back to what games end up being evergreens for drop of the hat demos of the Jamadrome. So it was not entirely like this, but it was puzzles on the sides of a cube, and we would bring in VIPs or whatever, and it's like, oh, you want to try some, the Neon Nibblers, which is timed. They'd play, and however they did, that was it. It was over. We brought in some guys like, play this puzzle cube game, and they're like, okay. And they were, I don't know, they were all CEOs or something. They were super competitive, but they couldn't get it, and we kind of be like, okay, well, just a few more minutes, and then we got to move on to the next thing. And they're like, wait. So that's fine, but if you're looking at this in terms of the festival, you have to think about your throughput a little bit. So I don't know if that means you want to change it or not. My last comment is about controlling something in 3 axes. So all I had was WASD, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm essentially moving 2 axes at a time.
No, it's 3.
Oh, there was more keys?
Q and E.
Oh, that's right. Okay, good. So, have you ever played a game called Block Out? It's a retro game. It is the only actual true 3D version of Tetris. There's something called Tetris 3D and like Weltris and all this stuff. Block Out is actually Tetris shapes are falling into a 3D scene, and you have control over all 3 axes. The arcade machine had buttons for all 3 axes. And maybe so did the Genesis version using 3 buttons. But the Atari Lynx version only has 2 buttons. So they went with an interface where you just hold down a button and then hold one of 2 buttons and then use the D-pad to rotate relative to that. And that actually works a lot better. So this is the first time I can think of it in a situation where I've had to talk to someone about 3D, 3-axis control and who did it right and who didn't. So I'll show you later. It might help with the guests. But if you're basing this on some other game you play where you move something in 3 axes that I have not played, because the game I just mentioned is from like 1985, then I want to look at that. I just remember I loved the idea of the game, but I only played on a card.
All right, we gotta blow this joint. Cops are on their way. Anyway, really good work, guys. I think this feels like it would work well. But if I had to guess jury would be like mostly time. Can you find a way to?
You can have 3 more people in the top bench.
I feel like 2 people in here, especially because we're going back and forth. 2 people in here would actually feel better because we could talk together and be like this, and then someone could go over and like go to the
oh yeah, totally,
go to the keypad.
Yeah.
And especially like one thing you could do is if like the password thing had like the timer on it, like if there was like a third or fourth guest and they were the person who's watching the clock too, like that could be a good role for them to have.
Maybe you could have it adjust for the size of the group coming in. It's like, oh, you want 4 hackers? Well, you've got half the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, good stuff.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Woo.